Now, 25 years ago this week, Ken Livingstone was getting his feet under the desk as London's first elected mayor, changing the landscape of politics in the capital forever. Now, the role was introduced to give the people who live here someone who worked for them and their well-being while championing the city on a global stage. From the three mayors who've taken office so far, we've seen the introduction of the congestion charge, the 2012 Olympics, Boris bikes, ULEZ, with vocal fans and critics of every incumbent's policies. With a look back at the checkered history of the London Mayor's office, here's our political correspondent, Simon Harris.
They all want you to move back a bit.
May 2000 and members of the London Assembly posed for pictures with London's first directly elected mayor, Ken Livingstone. 25 years on, and three of them have returned to Romney House in Westminster to remember the start of a new era of politics in the capital.
We had a lot of optimism about what we were going to do in London and what we could do for London.
I realised, particularly as a constituency assembly member, it was a full-time job.
I was an unexpected win. We got 3 seats and we were only expected to get 1, so I was quite shocked.
I therefore declare that Kenneth Robert Livingstone is duly elected the first Mayor of London.
Ken Livingstone's election victory was a huge upset for Tony Blair's Labour government. He ran as an independent candidate after Blair and his advisers decided he was too left-wing to be Labour's candidate. Although excluded from the party, he invited Labour Assembly member Nicky Gavron to be his deputy, as I reported at the time.
Nicky Gavron spent 40 minutes with the mayor today discussing his offer. But her decision is likely to rest on whether Labour as a whole is prepared to join the court of King Ken.
Romney House was the new Greater London Authority's temporary base while City Hall was being built. The Assembly's role was to hold the mayor to account.
We assumed it was a bit of an elephant's graveyard, especially for the Tory party, and then all of a sudden they started getting elected as MPs.
The Assembly, I'm not sure what the Assembly has achieved, to be blunt. I honestly can't be. It's failed to use the one power it has, is to block or amend the mayor's budget or to amend mayoral strategies.
It's difficult to remember now quite how positive and optimistic we were about London at the time. Crime was going down, things were getting better, the South Bank Centre was refurbished. There was a real, London was cool.
2 years after the election, the politicians and their officials moved to a purpose-built HQ next to the Thames.
The new City Hall would be the home of the Mayor and Assembly for the next 19 years. Ken Livingstone was eventually voted out of office and replaced by Boris Johnson.
Johnson's 8 years saw him preside over the Olympic Games, commission a cable car over the Thames and have frequent clashes with one Assembly member in particular.
What is at the heart of it is about whether or not your office, Mr Mayor, has fudged the figures.
Nothing you have said this morning remotely contradicts it, and I think it's a considerable achievement.
I'm afraid you're wrong. Okay.
I'm afraid you're wrong.
I suppose I remember getting annoyed with firstly Ken and then Boris and losing my temper in Assembly meetings. And that's not a good look.
Who was your favourite mayor?
Well, in a way, Ken bizarrely was my favourite mayor. The trouble with Boris, and the same with Sadiq, they treat the Assembly with contempt.
What were Boris's plus points? Well, he's a charming individual. I think he popularised cycling, which was a good and necessary thing.
What's better about London now than 25 years ago?
Oh, well, the air is cleaner for a start. We have a better bus service, we have better transport.
Traffic is slower, crime went down in the early years of the Assembly and the GLA, but is now rising again.
Our transport system is absolutely transformed. It's so much better than it was. It's difficult to remember how poor it was to wait on the Northern Line.
London has had 3 mayors in the last quarter of a century, and the mayors have had 3 different homes. City Hall is now in Docklands. Romney House has been turned into flats, and the building, once described as a glass testicle, is being repurposed as shops and offices. Simon Harris, ITV News, Southwark.